Hello and welcome back to Shut Up and Watch the Movie. I'm Kristina.
I'm Tyson.
And each week we make each other watch a movie. The other person might like it, they might not, but we're gonna have fun no matter what.
We're just gonna hang out.
We're gonna have a good time. No complaints here.
Sometimes. A lot of complaining on my end.
I've actually done my fair share of complaining too.
This podcast is mostly complaining.
Yeah, that's what's fun though. But before we get into The Sound of Music, which is our movie for this week, we're gonna have our
tiny little movie corner. Teeny tiny little movie corner.
Listen, the name, we are tallying up the votes as we speak.
From an Instagram poll, correct?
Yes. The name might stay the same, it might not. We'll have to wait
see
and
what
see.
the people speak. Get some viewer engagement.
Yes, that's the goal. So we'll see if that name is going to stick around, but I guess it's the name that we're using for now. So Tyson, if you want to go first.
Yeah, all right. Let's hit it off with another classic. You know, we're watching Sound of Music against my will. So I decided I'm going to see what other kind of classic auteurs I can watch. And I watched The Birds by Alfred Hitchcock.
Is that actually a good movie?
Yes, it's actually surprisingly very good.
I know it's good in my brain. I haven't seen it, but it just sounds so silly.
You think it sounds silly?
The concept sounds so silly that I'm like, it can't be that good.
No, but I was like, oh. I was taken aback. Obviously, Alfred Hitchcock, master of suspense.
Right, of course.
Classic director. He's directed such, Psycho.
He's pretty great. No, I've seen Hitchcock movies.
Vertigo.
I've seen a good number.
I thought it was very suspenseful, and there's a lot of cool little directing things he does. One part I'll just highlight in particular is there's a part where she's, waiting to get some kids from a school safely, but shit hasn't completely hit the fan just yet, but, the birds have started acting weird. And she sits on a park bench outside of the school, and then behind her, some crows just start landing behind her, and it keeps cutting away to her, and then back to the thing, and then it stays on her for a long time, and then when we cut back, it's, just completely swarmed with birds.
So many birds.
Absolutely so many birds, and I was like, oh, that's good.
I need to watch it, see, because it just sounds a little silly.
However, we'll mention it because I was like, oh, this is very much from the 60s. It's a lot of, compositing of the birds in.
Oh.
I don't know how they would have done it on film, but, the special effects at points do not look amazing. And I kind of just thought, oh, the Technicolor is very, saturated. And so I was going into Sound of Music, I was like, oh, is this just how all the movies look from this time? But we'll get into it.
Sound of Music looks incredible.
It does.
Okay, so for me, listen, we got kind of behind on recording these, so we've been trying to catch up.
But now we're so ahead.
So, yeah, actually, recording this episode now will get us kind of ahead, which is good.
Ahead.
But because of that, the past few movies I've watched have all been for the podcast, because I'm also just a very busy person. But yesterday, not a movie, but yesterday I got to go to the Academy Museum.
Yep.
And it was really cool, and there was a bunch of cool stuff there. What? I'm not even a huge Godfather fan, but there was a really cool Godfather exhibit. I think a lot of the exhibits they have are seasonal or rotational, they switch them out. So they had this really big whole floor dedicated to John Waters, who I actually haven't seen in any of his movies, but I've heard of a lot of them.
I don't know if you would well, maybe you would. I guess I don't know your taste entirely. He's got range. Yeah. There's at least some of those movies that I've been wanting to see for a while, and going through that, I think it'd be a lot of fun. I know that one or two of them are supposed to be really crazy, but also, that's why I'm curious to watch it, because I'm they were made in, the 60s, 70s? Yeah. So how crazy, are they crazy are they genuinely just crazy, or are they crazy by those terms, you know? I don't know.
And I don't know, because I'll have to watch it, so maybe we'll watch them, and then can report back next week.
You'll probably like his Hairspray. I don't think you would like Pink Flamingos. I haven't seen Pink Flamingos.
I want to see Hairspray. I didn't realize, I knew that there was an old Hairspray that was his, but what I didn't realize is that Hairspray, that's the original. I thought it was a Broadway show first. So that's kind of crazy to me, because I love Hairspray, one of my favorite musicals. I've been wanting to watch that anyway, but now I'm now I really feel like I need to go see it.
If we get into, I haven't seen that, I've only seen the new one, or the newer one.
I've only seen the new one too. Okay.
I have plenty of thoughts on Hairspray.
I really like Hairspray. It's one of my favorite. I've seen it on stage too. It's one of my favorite shows, but.
Oh wow, big Broadway goer are you? Big theatrical goer.
Okay, I didn't see it on Broadway. I saw it in I loved the movie growing up. I don't want to talk too long about this because I'm going to get into our actual movie today, but I loved the movie growing up, the 2006 or whenever it was. I loved it, and my mom knew I loved it, and so when I was in elementary school, the local high school was putting on a production of it, and then I went and saw that. And it was a high school production. But, to 7-year-old me who loved the show, I was like, this is the greatest thing ever.
Was the mom played by a guy also in that?
I don't remember.
John Travolta's character?
Yeah. No, I know who you're talking about, but I don't remember. I was pretty...
Interesting.
But I love it. I love Hairspray. And I've seen a lot of clips of more professional shows, and they did the Hairspray live and everything. But anyway, I haven't actually watched the John Waters Hairspray, so maybe.
Well, if it's the original,
I want to check it out. I definitely want to check it out.
All right, let's get into it.
The Sound of Music.
So Kristina held me down and made me watch.
Don't act like you didn't enjoy it.
No, I did. I did thoroughly enjoy it. However, going into it, look, I'm not the most big fan of musicals.
That's fine. Not everyone is. I respect that.
But every time not to say they aren't quality. There's plenty of musicals I do like. But, going into, a 3-hour musical set in, the hills of Austria.
That sounds like the perfect thing ever. Most perfect.
I don't know. I just,
I will say, going into it, this is one of my favorite movies.
Yeah.
I grew up watching it. I love it, love it, love it. But my prediction going into it was I was like, I think Tyson's going to enjoy it, but I think he's going to think it's a little too long and a little boring at some parts. That was my prediction for what your opinion was going to be.
And not to, I guess, spoil my reaction, but I didn't think it was too long or boring at any parts.
Yay!
Which was incredible.
That's a success.
I was captivated the whole time. Yes. Surprisingly. I am flabbergasted, you may say.
Yeah, isn't it crazy when a classical, critically acclaimed movie is actually good?
Yeah. Who could have guessed?
That's always whenever I watch an old movie that I don't want to watch, and I'm like, damn, it's good. I get it.
This podcast is a constant series of us speaking to the choir of popular movie opinions.
Being pleasantly surprised when we shouldn't have been surprised at all.
Oh, this good movie's good.
Yeah, whoa, crazy. Okay, let's get into it.
Okay, do you want to just dive into the plot, or do you have any...
Well, I guess one thing I wanted to point out is this movie is based on a true story, and I don't know if you knew that.
I didn't actually, but nowhere does it say in the movie that
no,
it's a true
doesn't.
Story.
It's based on a true story. The Von Trapp family was a real family. Some of the family didn't like how the dad is portrayed.
I was about to say, was the dad an asshole in real life too?
No. The main complaint was they were that he was not this horrible.
You gotta make it dramatic though.
Nice guy. I know. Yeah, that was, I think it works for the movie, but I can also understand them being our dad was not that big of an asshole. He was totally fine, and he was a sweet man, and he loved us. It was not.
That's not interesting though. That would have made it boring to me.
Right, it would have made a boring movie. So I think it works for the movie.
Dad loves his kids.
I understand why they maybe didn't like that, but I think generally speaking, it was pretty well received. There's a lot of songs in it that are kind of supposed to be Austrian folk songs, but they are in fact made up for the movie. Or I guess it was a stage show first. They're made up for the musical.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, when they went and first saw the show in the movie, they thought they were real songs, and it's no, people in Austria. In fact, I think people in Austria don't like some of the songs because they're cheesy.
Okay, well, I don't really care what the people in Austria think.
Yeah, because we're in America.
This is a United States made classical musical movie.
Yeah.
It's in English.
I was going to say, I feel like everyone's British, but...
Oh, yeah, everyone is, properly British-trained actors.
Right.
Everyone speaks in that,
Julie Andrews, such a queen.
Old dialect.
All right, let's get into the plot now. Now that we've gotten some context out of the way.
So, Maria, who's the main girl, she's, right off the bat, she's singing about the sound of music. She's twirling in the hills of Austria. Just absolutely having a ball. She's a nun, or she's training to be a nun. She hasn't worn her commitment yet.
Yes. Sorry, I do just want to say this because there were some parts during the movie you guys were like, "Is that a green screen? Is that painted background?" Da, da, da. I know that opening shot that was for real. They had I want to say it was a helicopter. There's some interview of Julie Andrews talking about getting that shot, and it's crazy, but that is very real. She's in the hills, and they filmed a lot of the movie in Austria.
Well, I'll say this. I mean, we'll just go ahead and get into it. Beautiful looking movie.
Gorgeous. Oh my God. I tried to tell you guys. I was this movie's visually beautiful.
Look, I loved the birds. However, what I was going to say is that the birds the whole time, the way the Technicolor is in that movie, and I'm not sure what it is. It's very, I don't know, the flesh tones are very matte and flat. But this movie looks like it was filmed on a camera today. A modern camera.
It's beautiful.
And I was just taken aback the whole time. I was like, wow.
It's a very visually beautiful movie. It's one of those movies, there are certain movies, I don't know if I'm going to sound crazy when I say this, but it makes sense to me. There are certain movies when I watch that, the visuals of it, I'm like, wow, that's delicious. I want to take a bite out of this movie.
What?
And that's how I feel about
I didn't get that vibe from this.
You never felt that? But, I don't know, there's some movies that I feel I'm yes, this movie would taste so good.
What? I'm
trying to think of other movies I feel that way about. Like The Young Girls of Rochefort. I'm like, yeah, this would be tasty. Do Revenge, like, oh, that would, like...
What, the Netflix movie?
Chunk of that. Have you seen it?
No.
It's a good movie.
Okay, I would understand.
It's not in the same range as Sound of Music, to be fair. But, like, visually, like, it has a nice look to it.
I would understand, like, some movies I'd be like, oh, I want to take a bite out of it. But, like, I don't think I would apply that to this movie.
What movies would you like to take a bite out of?
I don't know. I'd have to think about it. But, like, I don't know. Take a bite out of this movie. It's just going to taste like grass.
No. I feel like there's a lot of, like, pretty colors and stuff. They're, like, in Austria. Like, it's so pretty. I don't know. Just, like, the fresh, like, European air, you know?
Speaking of eating grass, I just thought of a little side story. I don't know. I feel like I share a little side story every episode.
All right, go ahead.
Back when I was little, I was like, oh, I'm not eating enough, like, green. And so, on the playground, I just grabbed, like, a big chunk of grass.
Okay.
And I just ate it. That's the end of that story. But is it... So I know from experience that grass is not tasty. It just tastes like dirt. And like,
just to be clear, no one eats grass in this movie.
I know, but like, if you take a bite out of this movie, it's just gonna taste like that. It's just gonna be
so.
It's just gonna be a stupid ass kid.
Or I guess no, they're in fields at a few points. I don't think that's what this movie would. I feel like it would taste like crisp European mountain air. But anyway, I don't know how to segue out of that story. Back to the plot. You were saying she's a nurse, or not a nurse. She's a nun in training. The hills are alive.
The hills are alive. She's late. She realizes she's late. She runs away. And then we cut to what is it, the nunnery? No, it's not the nunnery. That's a stupid thing to call. The coven. What, no? The nun...
I feel like nunnery's fine.
Covenant?
First of all, you're thinking of the word convent.
Convent! Oh my god, I sound stupid.
I feel like nunnery works too, though.
No, nunnery sounds silly too.
Well, that's a real word.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if there's like a distinction that's like makes them different, but...
Well,
I feel like they call it the convent in the movie, don't they?
Yeah, well,
right?
It's probably...
No, it's the abbey.
The abbey.
That sounds... I don't know why that's...
We already jump into our second song, which is them basically shit-talking her.
They have just an absolute diss track, okay, with Maria.
Yeah, they're like, oh, she's late. She sings all the time. We hate singing.
The only time that she's on time is to eat. She's a clown. They say that.
Yeah, they're like...
That is a real lyric.
They call her like pretty much like a fat ass and a clown.
They don't call her a fat ass.
Well, they're like, oh, she shows up for dinner on time, though.
A clown. They go in on her. And there's at least one or two where they're like, oh, but she's so funny. She's so nice. Like, she's a good person. But she just, like, is a mess.
I feel like that's outweighed by fat ass and clown.
They don't call her that.
They pretty much call her a fat ass in, like, a nun way. Anyway.
The most nun way to call someone a fat ass.
Also, not a fat ass. She is a beautiful woman.
Yes, she is.
Very clearly.
I agree. But she's always late. She's always making mistakes. She's not very good at being a nun. Which, she's not officially a nun yet, but she's trying to become one, and they're like, she's not good at this.
She's like, basically, because a nun, you gotta be like, you know, sophisticated and subdued, and devote your whole life to God, which I think she does, but she's also, like, kind of a goofball, if you say so. Yeah. She's very whimsical.
She doesn't seem like she has the discipline to become a nun.
The discipline is exactly what it is.
They sing their little song about her.
And then she comes in, and they're like, oh, shit. They stop singing for a second.
They stop singing for a second, and then they keep singing.
And then she leaves, and there's like...
she's gone,
and they're like, oh, what are we going to do with you, Maria?
How do you solve a problem like Maria? Can you imagine being called just like a straight up problem? Tyson's a problem.
That sounds very accurate to what I experience on a daily basis. From the apartment...
I was going to say, I feel like we would call you a problem.
For my family.
So respectfully. I don't think you're a problem.
Thank you.
I think you can be a problem.
I think you're a problem. Anyway,
wow.
let's continue through this. So they're basically like, all right, we're going to send you away so you can find some discipline in yourself. And we're going to send you to this house. You're going to be basically, not like a nanny, but like a nun that sits in on the family. A governess.
That's European for nanny.
Is it really?
You're
just making that up?
Like, I mean, like, not actually, but like, kind of. Like, they have, like, yeah.
And, you know, she packs all her stuff. She sings us another song. At this point, we're already, 5 minutes in, three songs in.
I feel like we're, like, 10, 15 minutes, but...
I don't know, 3 songs.
You didn't like this song, right?
No, because there's, like, a song... I don't know, there's a lot of songs in this I was like, oh, that's from this movie?
Yeah.
You know, this one was kind of just, like, nothing to me.
I like this song. It's not my favorite in the movie.
Could you even... Don't do it. But, like, could you even hum the tune right now?
Yes. I've seen this enough times where, yeah.
I don't really... There's nothing to latch onto.
Another thing where she's just, like, going through the city of Salzburg, and it's gorgeous. I will say, whether or not you like the song, Julie Andrews is so charming. Her character, like, I feel like this is, like, the song that, like, you're like, oh, yeah, she's just so fun and lovable and great. And I love Julie Andrews. And I feel like this is the song where you're, like, really get to start liking, like, Maria just is, like, so quirky and charming, in my opinion.
Yeah.
This song specifically, it reminds me, I really want to go to Austria because they have, like, a little movie tour you can do, and you can go to all the spots that they filmed. And I feel like half of them are from, like, she really goes a lot of different places during that song. I feel like half of them are in that song.
I was about to say, that's cool, except most of it would just be in the house. Like, a majority of it would just be in the house.
Yeah, but, I mean, they take you to the house, they take you to... There's, like, that big fountain. I feel like it's this song, and then we'll get to Do Re Mi later in the movie, but it's when she takes the kids out for the outing. It's like, that's also when they go a lot of places.
Big European traveler. Are you also going to Greece?
All right, I studied abroad one semester. I want to be a big world traveler. I don't have the money to do it at the moment. Maybe one day.
Gonna leave old Tyson behind.
Listen, if I had the money, I would.
In the podcast closet.
One day, one of these days, I'm gonna hit it big.
Yeah, when the podcast, gets more than, 20 listeners? It's not a diss on the people listening to this. It's just
we're very appreciative of the people that are listening.
Very appreciative.
So, okay, she gets to the house. She sings her song about how she's scared, but she's gonna be confident. She's gonna nail this.
Okay, but she gets into the house. Mm-hmm. She goes wandering around to, a gold room, a solid gold room. And she's like, oh. And then the father of the house...
Well, wait, it's a ballroom.
Is that what it is? I didn't know what it was.
It's a ballroom, and it's decorated.
I just thought it was a solid gold room.
It's very fancy. It's very, Versailles-esque.
Very cool.
Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah, I'm sure. Oh, yeah, okay. You're not
I sound like I'm such a rich European snob. I'm not.
Wow.
What do you mean, well?
I don't know.
I've been to Europe twice. I studied abroad for a semester, so, and I don't want to be that bitch that brings up study abroad every 20 seconds.
Well, actually, I went to,
I've literally been to Greece and Paris. Those are the only
I thought you would have went to Greece a few more times, considering, Greek
I also
ancestry.
have, family there. I literally have family. I stayed with family when I went to Greece the second time.
Though, I don't really care. It's, you're still a world traveler, and you're still...
I am.
Snobby. I don't know.
I don't think I'm snobby, but... Okay, so, there's, a ballroom in there. She goes in there.
And then Christopher Plummer, who...
The captain.
What's his name? The captain? Do they ever say his actual name?
No, it's Georg.
Okay, we're gonna call him the captain.
There's a really funny SNL sketch with one of the songs.
It says George in the captions.
Yeah. No, that's how it's spelled, but they say Georg, because I guess that's maybe German or something. Or
Austrian.
Austrian.
The Germans were not...
They didn't like the Germans, but what was I gonna say? Oh, there's a really funny SNL sketch that they did about one of the songs in the movie, and in it... The dad comes in and John Mulaney goes, Gaylord, that's your name, isn't it? Gaylord.
That's funny.
He's like, you know what you're doing. It's funny.
It does. I didn't want to make that joke because I felt like that was a low-hanging fruit, but when you said Georg, I was like, oh.
His name's Georg.
I know, but I feel like they don't pronounce it like that in the movie. It's like Georg. It's like...
Georg.
It's like, it's more, it's less Georg.
Sorry, I'm American and have an American accent. I don't know what you want from me.
Exactly.
When I say it in an American way, I get hate on, and then when I say, oh, I like Europe and I want to go to Europe, it's like, oh, you're such a snob, so there's no way to make you happy. Anyway, we're calling the captain, I think.
We're not making any progress in this movie. He comes in and he's like, what the fuck are you doing in this room? You just got here, and you're going into locked rooms.
Get out.
Get the fuck out. Yeah. And then he blows his little whistle, and he's like, children!
He blows his whistle, and it's so loud.
The child whistle.
So
I had to turn the volume down on the TV, because it's so much louder than everything else in the movie. It's like, I'm not gonna...
Imagine, whistling at children. Actually, I was a lifeguard for many years. I whistled at many children, but...
Ronan, edit in a whistle sound that's much louder than the rest of this podcast. Don't actually do that.
I wish I could whistle, because I wish I would be able to... I can't whistle.
This is great content for the podcast.
Try to whistle.
Okay, so he blows the whistle and he's like, children!
It's really loud and shrill.
And how many children are there? 6?
7. There's 7 children.
These 7 little children come down.
They march down the stairs.
He has a whistle, Morse code for each child. Mm-hmm. And he introduces them. I'm not going to go through all the children's names because I do not remember them. But it's
you don't need to.
It's 3 whistle blows, and that's the 16-year-old girl. Or 1 whistle blow, and that's the 15-year-old boy, or whatever. And so basically, she's like, oh. And he's like, all right, memorize that. I'm going to give you a whistle, and this is how you're going to do it. And she's like, I don't want to do that.
Maria's like, no.
Sounds degrading.
Yeah.
That seems...
Well, and then he goes, oh, and when I want you, I'm going to do this. And he goes, like, he does this really long, obnoxious whistle, and she's like, no, you are not going to do that. Like, I am not a dog. I'm not going to answer to a whistle.
No, his justification, though, is like, he's like, well, we don't want shouting in the house. And I was like, but the whistle is much better?
No, for real.
The whistle's worse.
The whistle's so much worse.
You couldn't just be like, darling, come down here for a second. You'd have to be like, Anyway, he heads out, and she gets to, like, actually talk to the kids. There's really only one kid that's actually important to, like, I feel like the plot, and that's the oldest girl, Hazel, who's 16. I feel like all the other kids, they're sweet and they're cute, but they're not necessarily important. They're kind of
children,
like
and they're there.
A collective, they're important, but like each individually, I don't know.
Not to be mean to the other kids, but
I don't really. No, I'll be mean to them. Be more important. Be more valuable to your family.
I will say the littlest girl, she's very cute. I feel like every time she's on screen, I'm like, oh, she's such a
They
cutie.
knew it too in the movie.
They knew it.
They play it up.
They did their casting right. So the oldest girl is named Liesel. Then there's 6 other kids who range from ages like 3 to 14.
Liesel. Okay.
So they're all talking to her, and she's like, oh, like, she's trying to, like, be friendly with these kids. She's trying to, like, make a good impression. She, like, wants to be friendly with them.
Oh, yes. And these little shits, oh, my God, you get rid of the dad, and the kids are just as bad.
They are little monsters.
At the beginning, she leads him up the stairs, and she, like, reaches into her pocket, and there's a fucking frog!
They slip a frog in her pocket.
Where'd they even get the frog? How are they holding it?
And they all look at her, like, so evil and, like, smirking before they walk out.
Dude.
Evil children.
Yeah, okay, I am gonna whistle at you.
Yeah, no, it's kind of crazy. I used to nanny, and there's some crazy stories I have from that. Can't say they ever put a frog on me. Or hit a frog in my bag or in my...
Did they ever do anything, like, really terrible to you?
I have some crazy stories, but I'm not going to share them here.
Okay.
They end up being nice kids, though. Yes. And like I said, the kids that I nanny, even though I have some crazy stories, they were still nice kids.
Yeah. And then they get to dinner later, and you know what they do next? Same day. They put the pine cone on her seat, and so when she sits down, she's like, ow! My ass! She doesn't say that, but I would say that.
But she gets a little, it's like, and the captain's looking at her like,
what was that?
What are you doing? And she's like, nothing.
And then she still doesn't expose the kids.
No, instead.
She's like, wow, what really nice kids you have. Mm-hmm. Thank you guys for treating me so well and with open arms. And the kids just burst out crying.
The kids all start crying. She's like, she like totally manipulates it. She's like, you guys are just so thoughtful with your gift, and you know that I must be feeling just not at home right now, and I'm away from everything, and so for you guys to welcome me so warmly, it really means a lot. And
Kill them with kindness.
Yeah, the kids feel bad now, so they all start crying.
Kill them with kindness.
Just the whole dinner table sobbing.
You know, one time I got a note on my car that was like, hey, learn how to fucking park. At my apartment complex in North Carolina. No, granted, I was parked very poorly.
I was going to say, if somebody, because I've left those notes before.
What? That's a mean note to leave.
Okay, I will say, we lived in different apartment complexes, and the apartment complex that I lived in, the parking spots were so tiny, and there was only a limited number of them, that if someone parked badly, they were screwing, like, 10 other people. So
I'll say this, though. You probably didn't write learn how to fucking park. That's not an exaggeration. It said like that verbatim.
I feel like I've written learn to park. I feel like I might have written learn to park asshole.
Damn. Okay, maybe I am the bad guy in the story. So, but
I've only done that if someone's parked like really badly, though.
I think I was parked very badly.
Well, then maybe.
But they were. So I was
it's
like,
just a note.
But where I'm going with this is that I was like, oh, I have a gift card to Tropical Smoothie. I'm gonna leave this on their windshield, and I'm gonna be like, thank you for sharing that. I don't know. I was going to make him feel like an asshole.
Did you know who left the note? Oh.
But I was going to kill him with kindness, as they say. I didn't end up doing it because I was like, wait, what am I doing? That's stupid.
That is stupid.
What do you mean?
What?
Because you'd feel so bad if someone gave you a gift for being an asshole to them, right? It's like manipulation 101.
Well, I feel like that's a bad example because I would just be like, sweet, I got a gift card. But I understand in the context of this, like, yes, it would work. Like if you did something shitty and someone's like, you know, like,
I'm so sorry. Here's a.
No, I get what you're going for. That was just a bad example.
All right. Well, bad story. You know, not all of them can be home runs sharing on the podcast. I thought it'd be entertaining, maybe. I thought you might like it, but I guess not.
Not your best one. I liked the eating grass one better. But, okay, anyway, so they have dinner. The oldest girl, Liesel, who we mentioned before, she kind of
Liesel.
sneaks out.
She sneaks out and she goes to meet her blonde Aryan boyfriend.
In the middle of dinner, her dad gets a telegram, and her boyfriend
delivers the telegram.
Quote unquote boyfriend, boy she has a crush on. I don't know. They're not defined. They're teenagers. It's fine.
Uh-huh.
He's a telegram delivery boy. Mm-hmm. So whenever he gets a telegram, she's like, "Oh my god, Rolf is here." Which
is that his name, Rolf?
Rolf. If that's not a red flag. His name is Rolf, and he's like super blonde.
Yeah.
And
which we'll get into.
So she sneaks out at dinner because she's like, I'm gonna go see my boyfriend.
Yeah, and they do a little song together.
This song, I used to romanticize the hell out of this when I was a kid.
Romanticize the hell out of this.
This specific scene, not him later in the movie when bad things happen, okay? This specific song, because she's in a really pretty dress that I love, and it's all flowy, and then it's like, it's just so cute, because like this scene specifically, I know that he ends up being a terrible person. I'm not defending him. This scene specifically is cute. They get caught in the rain. They're having a whole little dance number. He's like just a little bit older, but not in a creepy way. She's 16, he's 17. Like, it's not like questionable. It's cute.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
It seems wholesome right now, you know?
You know, I didn't have I had a neutral thought. I was like, yep, that's what's happening in the movie. I wasn't looking like, I wish that was
When
me.
I was little, I was like, wow, like, this is the greatest thing ever. Like, I want to be in a pretty dress. I want to get caught in the rain. I want to dance in a gazebo.
Dance with blonde Aryan boy.
Not necessarily blonde Aryan boy, all right. I did not say that. But I really liked that. I think this scene is very easy to romanticize, personally.
And so she sneaks back in while Maria is doing little prayers. And she's like, oh, you're not going to tell on me, will you?
Right. Because, well, and also, it's really obvious she literally climbs into the room.
Yeah.
And she's soaking wet because it was raining.
Yeah, I don't think there was ever a part where Maria was like,
oh, there's a reasonable explanation for this.
No, it's clear. It's very clear what she was doing.
That Liesel was sneaking out. She was up to some funny business.
She's like, you know what? No, I'm not going to tell on you. She, runs the bath for her to soak her dress in and gives her, a nightgown to put on instead. Mm-hmm. But it's a thunderstorm, and then, every single one of these kids is so scared of a thunderstorm. Mm-hmm. You know, if I was in her position, which I often do when we talk about movies, is I think, what would I do? Mm-hmm. I would not be comforting these kids right now. These kids have not only put a frog in my pocket...
You wouldn't be a very good nanny.
Sat on the... But why are they treating me like shit, dude?
They explain it. I don't know if they explain it in this scene.
They're acting out for attention.
They're acting out for attention, basically, because their dad basically does not pay any attention to them, and they feel like he doesn't love them, and so they want to get his attention. So they feel like if they act out, then maybe he'll pay attention to them.
Well, now I feel like a dick.
Yeah, exactly. But Maria has the open-mindedness to know, there's a reason these kids are acting out. I don't understand that yet. I don't know if they tell her in this scene or if it's later, but, I mean, it's sometime soon, whenever it happens.
I don't even think they, do they ever tell her on screen?
I'm pretty sure they do. They either tell her during this or they tell her when they're, getting ready to do the whole Do-Re-Mi song. When they're, in the field playing.
So it's thunderstorming.
So she's trying to comfort the kids because they're all scared of the thunderstorm.
Mm-hmm. She's like, well, you know what I do when I'm faced with a scary situation? Mm-hmm. I sing about my favorite things, which are little boxes with strings. I mean, that's what...
It's a lot of things.
It is a lot of things.
Did you know that this song was from this movie?
I did not know the song was from this movie, but I knew the song.
I know this song mainly from this movie, which is why when it comes up as a Christmas song, every year on Christmas, I get so pissed off because I'm like, this is not a Christmas song. I don't like that it's brand...
Well, part of it... I mean, one of the things she says is a present.
So...
What's your negative reaction?
I don't like it as a Christmas song.
Why?
It's just because it's not a Christmas song. It's a song in this movie that has absolutely nothing to do with Christmas. But because she mentions one or two things that could possibly be related to Christmas in the wintertime, now it's a Christmas song? No, it's not. I don't like it as a Christmas song.
I think it's fine as a Christmas song.
And
I never thought of it as a Christmas song though either. I never even knew it was considered a Christmas song. I heard it.
You've just heard the song before.
Yeah, and I don't know,
Ariana Grande did that one song where she sampled it.
Did she really?
Yeah.
Is it good?
It was 7 things, right? Or 7 rings.
I don't know, man. I haven't listened to Ariana Grande in quite some time. I don't even know what happens next.
So they sing this. Then, so before the kids had entered the room, Maria is getting these cloths because basically she's wearing, this whole time she's wearing this really ugly dress. Because, I mean, she's training to be a nun, so you're not supposed to have, like, worldly possessions. So, like, it's, like, the one dress that she owns, and it's horrible. And the captain earlier today was like, yeah, no, you need new clothes. Like, you cannot be wearing that around here.
Dude. It's not even that bad. Like, it's fine. It's
pretty, like, I feel like when I was younger, I didn't think it, and watching it now, I'm like, damn, that's a bad dress. Like, it's not cute.
But, like, why does the captain care?
Because I guess if she's working for the family, and, like, she's, like, a representative of it, like, you want to be you want to look presentable.
Well,
so they
it's not much of an upgrade.
So she offers to make her own clothes. She's like, oh, I know how to sew. So they give her some fabrics, and she's like, oh, like, I don't, like, no, like, this is really, really nice. And also they're like, oh, we're going to change the curtains in your room. And she's like, you really don't need to do that. These people are crazy rich, if you haven't been able to tell at this point.
Yeah, solid gold room.
Insanely solid gold room. He was like, the reason he's the captain is because he was like a naval captain. I think Navy, right? Something.
Yep.
After the kids all leave the room, well, because the captain comes in and he's like, you all need to go to bed. Maria gets a little bit of a light bulb, and she sees the curtains that they were planning on getting rid of. And she's like, this is a really nice pattern. Oh my gosh.
It's not.
So
it's a terrible pattern.
It
leads for a funny little joke when they're all wearing, like...
I think it's fine.
What even is it? It's like dots?
No, it's like a floral...
Like bright green and bright yellow.
Like, paisley's not the right word for it.
Paisley?
Here's the thing. I don't think it's a bad pattern, but it's definitely a pattern of, like, drapes and not clothes. But she gets the right idea. She decides to make play clothes for the children. Because before they've been wearing these, like, I don't know, like sailor uniforms.
There's no room to rough around in.
Yeah, no. She's like, they need to be able to play and have a good time.
If I'm a young boy, I'm trying to tussle in the grass, grab a handful, eat it. Eat it.
If you got to be ready to eat some grass at any given point.
The
next day... They go out. She made these fun clothes out of the curtains for all the kids, and they go out on the town. They're seeing the sights.
Yeah.
They go to like a farmer's market. There's like a big fountain.
Not important.
Not important.
We get to the top of a hill, and they're
like having a picnic, basically.
And she's basically like, I'm going to sing a song. You guys should join me. And
she's like, we should all sing together.
And they're like, we don't know how to sing.
They're like, yeah, we don't know how to sing. They're like, Dad doesn't let us sing. And she's like, okay, well, I'm going to teach you how to sing.
It's like Footloose in the house.
It's like Footloose, but instead of no dancing, it's no singing.
I bet they can't dance either.
I mean, if they can't sing, they can't dance.
And so she's like, oh, and she thinks a song that's like
probably the other most iconic song.
I didn't know that was from this movie either.
That's kind of crazy. You didn't know that?
No, not everyone knows everything, Kristina.
It's just two very famous songs that I thought you might
have known.
And I knew the
songs, I just didn't know they were from this movie.
Okay.
And she's like, doe
a deer,
female deer.
Right, a drop a go to sun. We won't sing the whole song.
Yeah, and they're basically like...
immediately pick it up.
Yeah, they immediately get...
They have no problem harmonizing.
They are all on perfect pitch. They're harmonizing. I'm like... astounded. I mean, obviously it's a musical, so they're not going to sing off key, but you don't even want to have like a moment where they're
I also feel like with kids, I don't know, I feel like it's maybe a little easier for them to blend, but then sometimes that's not true.
I don't know. I feel like if someone sang a note, I feel like I'd probably be able to match it. I mean, it's just,
really?
I'm not saying this perfect pitch, but like it's just like, you hear something, you can just kind of automatically sort of lock onto it, right? Is that not like a human ability everyone has?
No.
Really?
No.
I mean, I don't think I'd be on pitch, but if it's not on pitch, it sounds wrong.
You've done, like, some music stuff, right?
I did musical theater as a child.
Woo! Okay, so you might actually be able to... as someone who really enjoys musicals, I am a terrible singer.
I'm not a great singer by any means, but I'm saying, like, if you're not hitting the right note, it sounds wrong. But here's the thing, I think there's a difference between, like, being able to hit, like... trying to hit a note and being like, oh no, I can't hit, like that's not matching, or versus like being able to like hear it and then perfectly match it. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Like, cause you could try and match it and be like, oh no, I'm not doing it right.
Sure.
Because I feel like that's just a skill to be able to manipulate voice.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, doesn't matter. So they have this whole fun scene where they're singing all over the city. They're going places. Do re mi. There's this one part where they're all on bikes, and I made a note of it because I was like.
Bike choreography.
Like filming bike choreo with children while they're singing is like just logistically, I feel like a nightmare.
Okay,
like that's crazy. Like,
choreography isn't even like crazy. They go forward and back.
But I don't know. I feel like filming stuff is hard enough. That just.
You think the cameraman was on a bike?
I think they were probably on a car.
Yeah, they probably were.
Yeah. So they're singing. This whole time, by the way, the dad has been gone,
and he grabs. He's picking up. His friend and his love interest. Mm-hmm. I don't know their names.
I know the guy's name is Max. I actually don't remember the girl's name.
Wow.
Elsa, I think.
Elsa? Why do you know the guy's name but not the girl's name?
Because he ends up being in the movie longer and playing a bigger part.
This is true. So he's driving them back.
The synopsis that I'm reading only refers to her as the Baroness.
Oh, yes, the Baroness.
The Baroness. She does have a name, though.
Yeah, she does.
I think it's Elsa, but let's call her the Baroness. Oh, wait, no, Baroness Elsa Schrader. Boom, let's go. I was right.
Correct. So they're driving back. He's taking them back to the house, and he drives past a bunch of drape-wearing kids in a bunch of trees. They're climbing the trees. They're swinging around like a bunch of monkeys.
And he's like, they're just some local urchins.
No, they're not. What do you mean, local urchins? When have you ever driven past something and you're like, oh my god, just a bunch of vagrants over here just fucking around in the trees? Who
calls them, like, children urchins? That's so funny.
It's clear there's just children playing in
some
some trees.
Local urchins. Like, that was his explanation. But then they get back to the house and they're like, where are these kids? Because he wants to introduce the Baroness to the kids.
Oh yeah, they're in like a boat.
Because in their, like, just like in the backyard of their house.
Which is like a giant, beautiful lake.
It's gorgeous. So they're like in a boat in the lake, and then they see him.
And Maria stands up. She's like, "Oh, hey!" And then the boat topples over. Oh my god, you could never be a nun under these circumstances.
The kids all have to climb out of the water, so they're all soaking wet.
And he blows the whistle. He's like,
and then they get back in line. It's like back to military status. So they introduce the kids to the Baroness, and no one seems all that excited about her.
And he demands them go back inside after. And he's like, "Hey, Maria, I got a question for you. What the fuck?"
Yeah. He's like, I've given you such simple instructions to follow, and you have not done anything that I've asked you to do.
Were my kids in trees? Yeah. Did you let my kids near a tree?
Also, what are they wearing?
And
she's like, oh, I made them clothes from the drapes. He's like, my kids are wearing curtains.
And they were in trees.
And they were in trees. And he's like, you're meaning to, like, they've been waltzing around Salzburg, like, wearing this stuff. She's like, yeah, we're having a great time.
And then she's like, your kids love you. And what the fuck is your parenting? And he's like, hey, whoa.
So she kind of goes off on him. Where she's like, your kids just want to, like, have you pay attention to them, like, a little bit. Like, they're just, like, wanting to love you and spend time with you, and you won't even pay attention to them. And he's like, how dare you? How dare you tell me how to parent?
Yeah.
Like, talk to my kids.
And then he's like, you know what? Leave. Get out. Get out.
Get out. They have a big argument.
And then she goes inside to pack up, but when they step inside, they hear the kids singing to the Baroness. Mm-hmm. The most beautiful, sweetest music you've ever heard.
It's the sound of music. The hills are alive,
The hills are alive.
And then the dad...
And the captain...
He's, like, kind of captivated by the
kids. He 180. His heart...
He starts
absolutely melted.
Singing with them.
And then he goes back. And
the kids are all kind of shocked, too. They're all kind of like, is Dad singing right now? What is he doing?
And he goes back to Maria, and he's like, dog, I fucked up.
He's like, I'm sorry.
I see the error of my ways.
I don't remember exactly when it's mentioned, but, like, the kids don't sing because it reminds him of the mom.
Oh.
The music generally reminds him of the mom.
Well,
who passed away.
Maybe that's your problem, and maybe you shouldn't punish the kids for it. Maybe you shouldn't
punish your children, yeah. But he kind of comes around because he's like, you brought music back to this house. Like, everyone seems just happier. Like, don't leave. I know I told you to leave. I'm sorry. You were right. You were right, basically. I haven't been a good dad. Can you please stay?
And basically, then, montage of some shenanigans comes on. I think the puppet show is now...
There's a puppet show?
Okay, let's talk about this puppet show for a second.
You seemed more impressed by this puppet show than anything else in the movie.
Okay, where the fuck did they get these puppets?
Max. He gave them the puppets as a gift.
Okay, who's making... These puppets are incredible. These are meticulously made puppets. These would require... insane puppetry skill to operate. One of them has like little cheeks that bobs in and out when they blow the tuba.
I feel like they just got to pull one little string. Do you know
how hard this is? Have you ever operated a stringed puppet like this?
No, have you?
I think I've tried once.
Why have you tried to operate a puppet?
I don't know. You ever see a puppet and you're like, oh, I could do that, and you can never do it. You have to have like a dexterity in your hand to like operate.
But there's 7 kids and Maria doing it all together, and
they're all again, look, the Pitch Perfect thing. They've all done it miraculously, perfectly. It's unfathomable.
I don't think
these puppets crazy. They can control like the tongue coming in and out of these puppets, like blinking.
The blinking, yes. I don't remember anything about the tongue.
I don't know. I'm just imagining the puppets in my mind.
I think that might between 7 kids and 1 adult, I feel like they got it.
These kids couldn't sing a week ago, and now
it's not that they couldn't, they weren't allowed to.
They very clearly could sing.
Very clearly they're great at singing.
they're also clearly great at puppetry.
I just like watching.
No, it's a great.
It's fun.
It's a fun
it's
sequence.
Just some fun.
It's a fun sequence. I'm being silly, but however, guess you know who's loving this? Fucking the captain. He's like, bravo! I love puppets.
It's like I love puppets. I love my kids. I love
puppets.
singing.
I love life. I love this turn this guy had.
No, he was like the most miserable man ever. To like, oh my god, I just want to sing and hang out with my kids. Like, life is great.
I was half expecting him to like take the whistle and throw it into the lake. He's like, I don't need this anymore. Kids, why don't you go outside and grab a clump of grass and eat it? Why don't you go outside and enjoy life? Dude, I lived as a child.
Is that what that was? So anyway, then...
Why do you think I am the way I am?
I mean, you eating grass, I guess, maybe, yeah, adds up. Okay, anyway. So then the guy, Max. mentions, like, oh, there's a big music... Like, he's like a music agent or something. Like, it's not totally clear what he is. He's some sort of, like...
Yeah, he's like,
agent
I don't know,
or, like,
some local
performance
organizer.
manager or something. I don't know. So he's like, I want your kids to perform in this festival. And he's like... Captain's like, no, absolutely not. End of discussion. We'll come back to that later.
Because the captain's like, I'll allow singing, but not in public.
Not in public.
He's not completely heartwarmed. I guess he thinks it's embarrassing or whatever.
I guess so.
Maybe he's shy.
Then they're all hanging out and they're like, Dad, we want you to sing a song. So they hand him a guitar. And he sings a song called Edelweiss, which I'm probably pronouncing wrong, but basically Edelweiss is a flower. And it's supposed to be, this was one of the songs that people thought was like an actual Austrian folk song. It's not. It was made up for the musical. It's not like a real song.
Yeah.
But it's supposed to be like a very patriotic, like.
Is it really?
For Austria.
Oh, yes.
Like, that's kind of what the song was written for.
We'll get into it.
Was to be like this patriotic folk song.
He loves Austria.
Keep in mind, it's Austria. There's World War II's on the horizon.
That's all we'll speak about this for now.
That's all you need to know. That's at this point in the movie, like that context has been given. I mean, I guess not. They don't say World War II because at that point, it's not what they called it.
Surely they're not going to bring Nazis into this.
They've brought up Germany, and I don't know if they brought up Nazis specifically, but they've kind of brought up Germany's rising power and how they're starting to have influence over
They're never
going
to put Nazis in this.
Nazis aren't going to be in this movie. I don't know if I should bring this up now or later.
What?
But you guys, I swear to God, every 5 minutes.
No, because...
Like, where are the Nazis? Isn't this a World War II movie? Are there going to be Nazis in it?
No,
because shut up and watch the movie. Just enjoy some fun little singing and they're having a good time.
No,
just don't worry about the Nazis. The Nazis will become a problem when they become a problem.
Okay, because I heard from someone, they were like, oh yeah, Nazis are a problem in that movie. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. I wonder how that's going to happen. I was like, how is this poor family going to be tortured? How are they going to... How are the Nazis going to throw a wrench in their plans? And how are they going to defeat the Nazis? And the entire time I was watching, I was like, when's the shoe gonna drop? When's the shoe gonna drop? No. And guess, you wanna know what? It doesn't fucking happen until the last 20 minutes of the movie. I guess all cards on the table.
Well, there are hints of it. They just do it very subtly until the end when it becomes like the actual main plot.
I know, and I was enjoying it, but I was like...
Between you and one of our other roommates, I swear, like every 5 to 10 minutes, you'd be like, are there gonna be Nazis? Like, where are the Nazis? I was
like, I don't know, I was like, let's get this going, let's get this, I'm waiting for the action.
Crazy. It'd be like in the middle of good scenes, too, and I'd be like, just shut up and enjoy, just watch the movie.
I just wanted to see when the plot was going to kick in.
It will kick in. At this
point, conflict.
Anyway, he sings Edelweiss, which is very Austria patriotic.
To be very clear, I did not want the Nazis to show up. For any reason.
No. You wanted to know because you were like nervous. Because like you told me, you were like, I'm invested. I don't want anything bad to happen to them.
Yeah.
Then the Baroness is like, this has been so much fun. I'm having so much fun hanging out with you guys. We should throw a party. This is a big mansion. We have a big ballroom.
Yes.
So that's what they do. They have a big fancy party. People are dancing.
Oh, yes.
It's a great time. There's one guy at the party. This is like one of the more subtle hints. He's like, I see you have an Austrian flag.
Have you?
Where's the Third Reich flag?
What,
and the captain's like, no, I'm not doing any of that. Props to him, because he is not putting up with any of the Nazi bullshit. Because, like, even his friend Max is, like, kind of trying to, like...
He's like,
he doesn't agree with it, but, like, he's, like, trying to play along.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the captain's like, no Nazis in my house. I hate the Nazis. Not like this is, like, a
controversial
this is a good take to have. But I just think in the context of, like, it was scary at that time to go against it.
Yeah. Especially when your country is, like, about to be invaded by the Nazis.
Yeah, so good for him for standing his ground.
And so they're like, let's put a pin in this conversation. Our kids are going to sing on the stairwell.
Well, wait. Before that happens, though.
What happens?
Maria is with the kids, and they're, like, in this, like, outside, like, garden area kind of, and they're all dancing. She's trying to teach them to do like there's like inside they're doing like ballroom dancing. When I say I want to go to a party, like this is what I want. I don't want to go to a club, be pressed up with a bunch of people. No, I want a live band, and I want to do some waltzing around a room. I want to get a fancy dress. This is what we need to bring back as a society.
This is exactly the kind of thing that I'm like, there's room to talk, there's room to drink.
Yeah.
There's dancing isn't like fucking moshing everywhere.
Right.
You ever go to a party now and the dancing isn't just like...
It's just like one fist. It's a good little frat flick.
Like everyone gets like so close together now.
Yeah.
I guess it's always been like that since, we've been party goers. But it's just like, where's the space? What happened to personal space?
So like this is like, it's like an actual like a ball almost.
Yeah, it is a ball.
I mean, yeah.
We're having a ball.
Anyway, so
some Nazi tried to ruin it.
But the Nazis are not going to ruin this party, okay? The party will be ruined, but not by the Nazis. Well, at least for Maria, it'll get ruined.
Yeah.
But so she's trying to teach the kids how to do some like the folk dances, and she's like dancing with like one of the boys, and then the captain steps in. He's like, "Let me teach. I'll be like, I know how to dance. Like, let's dance for real."
What happens here.
And then they're dancing. And it's like one of those things where it's like, if somebody's like waltzing together in like a movie or a show or something, they're going to fall in love.
Dude, I was blushing. I was like, oh, shit.
Really?
I was like, damn.
This was another scene where I was like, the 16-year-old somebody put this one when I was a kid. I was like, oh my God.
He's kind of like suave with it.
Yeah, he really is.
I don't know. I feel like all my attraction to him, if I was Julie Andrews, would have been like destroyed by how he treats his kids.
But at this point,
he's grown.
He's changed his ways, at least some. Like,
how long do you think he's been operating his house like that, though?
I don't...
Irreparable damage.
Do they say when the mom died? Because I think it's like basically since she died. Maybe a few years?
They've gone through like 6 governesses.
Yeah, I want to say a few years. I don't know if it's ever defined for sure.
Anyways, they dance together. It's romantic.
It is romantic.
It's romantic. It's like you said, you were blushing. I'm like over there smiling on the couch like, oh, it's so good. But then they get interrupted because the Baroness comes in and she's like, she's like, wow, look at you guys, you're having so much fun.
And the Baroness is like, and the captain, I don't know if they're technically like interrelated.
I think they are.
But like they're on track to be married.
Yeah, like that's kind of what's going on here. I feel like courting isn't the right word, but like that's kind of what's happening.
It kind of is what's happening.
I think she's single, she's a single widow, he's a single widower. And they're both rich. On paper, they would make sense together. And I don't think they dislike each other. Like, I do think but they're not, like, in love.
Sure,
If they got married, it'd be very much like
purely a
diplomatic,
diplomatic, functional marriage.
Exactly. So, now the kids are like, we have a surprise.
I got some sauce on this song.
What?
We gotta go through every single kid being like, goodbye, adieu. I don't know. It's fine. But it's like when it started and we got through the first 2 kids, and I was like, oh, we're gonna do this for all of them? And there's a lot of fucking kids in this
there's
house.
A few where they do 2 of them together. But the kids come out and they sing a song.
Not this first time. This first time, it's each kid
individually.
One at a time.
Okay, well, I think it's a cute song.
And then we get to the last little girl, and she drags it out. She's like, oh, good night.
It's so cute.
Good night. And
she's so cute. She's
and I'm
so
like,
little.
dude, go upstairs. Go to bed.
So the kids sing their song and they go to bed.
And they get upstairs, and I'm like, thank God. And they keep singing.
I was going to say, I like the one little joke that Liesel, the oldest girl, makes. She's like, I'd like to stay and try my first champagne. And the dad's like, no, go to bed. Which I would have, let her stay.
No.
Yeah.
What is she gonna contribute to this party?
To have a little drink. She's 16.
Yeah, I don't even think it's... Look, I don't think it's that... It's like she would have no one to, talk to down there.
She'd find an adult to talk to.
No.
It'd be fine. No, I think it would have been fine.
I'm not a father, so I guess maybe if I'm a father, maybe...
I'm not a father, but I've been a 16-year-old girl, and I would have wanted to stay and hang out.
I would...
Although, in our society, I would not have been allowed to try champagne.
Yeah, no, and I would have been like, get me up to my room. I'm ready to lay down. I gotta sing a song.
Well, you just don't like parties.
I gotta sing a song before I can go to my room.
You would like this party, though.
I would, because there's space to move.
There's space to move. They got the, high-quality drinks. Like, they're not...
No, it's
There's no Michelobes there.
I love a Michelob.
I know you love a Michelob.
It's the superior light beer.
They have, expensive, fancy wine. I mean, this is not confirmed, but, you just know it, you know?
I would have walked in, I would have been like, where's the McUltras? I'm hungry.
You would have probably been kicked out.
I'm hungry. I'm thirsty.
You and the Nazi dude, they would have been like, get out.
Don't pair me with the Nazi. I don't know.
The Nazi guy would have been kicked out first, and then you would have asked for Michelob Ultra, and they would have been like, all right, you get out too.
Yeah.
So
okay.
They all say goodnight. Then they're like, oh, Maria's getting ready to go help them get ready for bed. But they're like, no, stay for dinner. And she's like, I'm not dressed for dinner. And the Baroness is like, oh, well, I'll go help you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and they go upstairs, and Baroness is like, hey, so, what the fuck? You guys are in love, right?
Because she saw them dancing together.
Yeah, I know.
And she's like, you know he loves you. And Maria's like,
what? No!
But the thing is, and then the Baroness too is like, well, I mean, you're blushing. Like, you obviously like him too. And Maria's like freaking out. She's like, I'm supposed to be a nun. I can't like a man.
I love God.
Like, no, yeah, God is the only man in my life. There's no, like, I can't, no. So she panics and she just leaves.
Yeah, she writes a note.
She's like, I gotta get out of here.
I missed being a nun.
Yeah. I had to leave. I'm sorry. Bye.
There's the intermission.
That's technically the end of the first. Yeah, this movie does have an intermission.
And we all got up and clapped, and I grabbed a beer. I grabbed a Mick Ultra and a clump of grass. And I enjoyed
movie snack.
I enjoyed the rest of this movie.
Some people like M&Ms or popcorn. No.
Blades of grass.
Michelob Ultra and a blade of grass.
And so we come back.
She goes back to the nunnery, right? I have to be so real. As a kid, first half of the movie is very exciting, and there's lots of fun stuff. There's like, they're singing fun songs. Mm-hmm. The kids are having a good time. Second half of the movie, as a kid, kind of checked out.
Well, yeah.
Because in classical, like, musical fashion, first half is really fun. Second half is when shit hits the fan. And it gets a lot more serious.
I speak that I did musical theater as a child, which we don't have to dawn too much thought onto this period of my life. However,
we'll explore that more later.
We did Into the Woods. Into the Woods?
That's a very good example.
And so the kids' version was only the first act.
Yes, because the first act ends like a happy little fairy tale.
And then the second act
it's
goes
so
to shit.
Dark.
Everyone dies.
So dark. Yeah. I love Into the Woods. I think it's a great show, and that's actually one that I have seen on stage at least once, maybe twice. That's just another good example. I feel like a lot of musicals, not all musicals, but a lot of musicals, first half, super fun, having a good time, everybody's just doing great. Second half, everything falls apart. And that's kind of what happens in this movie. And as a kid, I kind of just liked the happy stuff more. So also, not sure how well I conceptualized World War II as a child, but...
Yeah, you didn't...
Like when I was like 7.
Understand what was going on.
Right.
So she's like, hey... You're back. You've been locked up in your nun room.
This is the main nun.
The main nun.
The head mother.
And she's like, hey, we want to talk? You can't be, like, trying to, like, use this place to, like, escape emotions you're feeling.
Right. Like, this is not a place to escape your problems. You need to face whatever it is.
And we probably do the worst song in the movie.
It's not even a bad song.
Well, there's no choreography. She just stands there and she sings.
We did say, like, the camera work, especially considering how beautiful the rest of the movie is.
It's like they probably had a rough shooting day.
Which is honestly disappointing because I feel like the song itself is actually a nice song. But it's just...
I don't know. It's like Cheer Up, Charlie. It's like nothing. It's like,
I was going to say this is my least favorite part as a kid, but there's actually a song that I forgot even existed when we watched it, so I feel like that...
What song is that?
We'll get there in a minute.
It hasn't happened yet?
No, in a minute.
She basically like, you're not destined to be a nun.
Right. Or she's like, you at least need to go and tell this man, like, she's like, if you love this man, that's okay. She tries to convince her, like, you can still love God and love a man. Like, that's okay, too.
There are plenty of people who God have chosen to be nuns. You don't have to be a nun.
And, like, and she makes the point, too, that's, like, in the church, like, marriage is also a sacrament. Like, that's...
It's a holy...
It's no less worthy than being in... Like, she's like, you need to go talk to this guy, basically. And I don't even think she's like, don't come back here, but I think she's just like, you need to go fix your problems.
Figure this out.
And if you decide to come back here, great. But, like, this is not... Obviously, you need to not be here right now.
But back at the house, it's the Baroness is trying to fulfill the role that Maria was filling. They're playing ball, and she's like,
not good at playing with the kids. She's like this like rich, like we mentioned, she's like this rich widow. She's not meant to be a mom, and I don't say that in a mean way. I don't think she wants to be a mom.
She's very much like a
society woman,
older couple without kids kind of woman.
Right? Yeah.
Basically, the kids are like...
They're not having a good time. They miss Maria.
Oh, no, and they do try to go visit her at the nunnery, and then they're like...
Oh, they do try it, yeah. And the nuns are
away.
like, Maria's not talking to anyone right now.
But then Maria gets back.
Well, wait, before Maria gets back, though...
Yeah?
They drop a bomb. There's some big news that they tell the kids. the captain reveals that him and the Baroness are getting married. It's official. It's official now.
Okay.
It was kind of leading up to that, but now they are actually engaged. And when he drops this news, no one seems happy. The kids all just look absolutely miserable. The Baroness is sitting there and she's trying to be yay,
yay,
look, yay,
marriage.
And no one's excited. So the kids all really awkwardly give her a little kiss on the cheek because she's gonna be their stepmom, and it's bad. And she's just kind of sitting there and she's very awkwardly receiving all of them because she knows it's very obvious they don't want her to be the stepmom. But like I said, I don't think she really wants to be their mom.
It's a lose-lose for everybody.
Yeah, no one's having a good time.
So Maria gets back, and everyone's like, "Oh, thank God!"
We miss her
Jesus,
so much.
Thank you. And then
they basically catch her up, and they're like, "Oh my gosh,
Dad is marrying the Baroness."
And Maria's like, "Oh."
She's kind of worried because she's like, "Oh my God!" She's like, "Well, the whole reason I came back is to tell him that I love him."
To bone this guy.
No, she's gonna be a nun. There's no way.
We'll get to it in a second.
That's not really important.
We'll get to it in a second.
But she agrees to stay at least until they've found a replacement governess, so she's not ditching them. Mm-hmm. And so the captain's there. The captain, when he sees her, he's obviously stricken with her too. He's like a deer in the headlights. He sees her just totally enchanted. Obviously has feelings for her too. So then later that night, I love this part because Maria is walking around outside. And he's standing on a balcony just watching her. And the Baroness is standing next to him trying to have a conversation. He is not giving her any attention at all. His eyes are only on Maria. The Baroness is trying to talk to him. He's no. So he turns to her and he's like, "Hey, I owe it to both of us. This is not going to work out." And the Baroness does that whole thing where she's like, "No, actually, you're not breaking up with me because I'm breaking up with you." Which, I think she actually handles that pretty. I think she saw the writing on the wall.
This is the ideal situation for any breakup.
Right, yeah.
The other person's like...
She's actually not that upset.
I understand. Let's make it mutual.
I also don't think they were ever super compatible, and I think she knows that too.
Uh-huh.
She even mentions she wants to go back to Vienna, be with her big society and not out in the middle of nowhere. Even
if anything, she was the one that was really just trying to bone him.
Yeah, I think. honestly, I think he saw her as a convenience, and I think she was just kind of yeah, this could work out really great for me.
Yeah.
So I think she's not all that upset that it's not going to work, which is honestly, this is pretty good all around.
And then they go out into the forest, and he meets up with Maria.
And they confess their feelings for each other. I said that the one song that the one nun sings was my least favorite.
This is your least favorite?
I wouldn't say this is my least favorite. I forgot this song existed. They started singing.
Well, of course they're going to sing here.
Yeah, but they started singing, and I was like, "Oh shit, they sing here?" I was wait. I didn't know there was a song. I've seen this movie so many times. I wonder if I should say this is my least favorite just because it's so forgettable. Even now, I'm I don't even know.
But it's beautiful. They're in silhouette against a nice blue night sky.
Yeah, it's very gorgeous. And then we're sitting there watching it. And I'm like, "Oh wow, this is a beautiful moment. They're coming together. They really love each other." And then you guys are like, "Aren't there Nazis in the movie?"
No, okay. At this point, we're 40 minutes left, 30 minutes left.
Fresh. I was "Shut up." I was "There's a beautiful romance taking place
I
here."
was just
watch the movie.
What, is there going to be... I was just waiting for it to happen.
This was the part when you guys were
I was "Oh my God, shut up." I was "Enjoy the romance. It's great."
It's a nice romance and I enjoyed it. And then I was curious about where the Nazis were going to pop in. And so then they go off to get married.
So yeah, they
go off on a month-long honeymoon.
Well, they have this gorgeous wedding first.
It's in this huge church. She's wearing this ginormous train. I guess the nuns, one thing I guess they're not allowed in the church.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I should have looked that up because I was kind of.
You want to know something I just realized?
Because they're nuns.
All 3 movies we've watched have featured a wonderful wedding. Which wedding has so far been your favorite wedding?
Ooh.
Which wedding would you want out of the 3?
I would want this wedding with the reception of Mamma Mia.
Of course, you would want the Mamma Mia reception.
Sense. Yeah. I feel like the Mamma Mia wedding was chaotic. There was a lot going on there.
No,
I don't want that wedding.
I don't.
I don't need several family members and then somebody else gets married. No. Yeah, this wedding with the reception. I mean, the clueless one is just like a little tag at the end of the movie. I'm sure it's fine, but like I don't. Yeah. It's kind of whatever. Yeah. It's a good question though.
So they go off on a month-long honeymoon.
During their honeymoon.
And this is where I was like, month-long honeymoon. That's all I'm going to say about that. I know some shenanigans were happening.
It's
good for them, honestly. Good for them. It's a honeymoon. No kids for a month.
No kids for a month.
And basically the entire time while they're gone...
Maybe they're trying to bring some more kids into the world. I don't know.
Max wants to get his grubby little hands on the kid. Not in like a bad way, but like...
The way you said that.
It's just like...
Very creepy. Max is a good guy.
No, Max is a good guy, but he's like, all right, we're going to get you guys in the festival.
This festival that we mentioned earlier, that the dad was like, absolutely not.
He's like,
Max is
well, now they're gone.
We're putting these kids in this festival.
And so they're learning to be in the festival, and when they come back...
Like rehearsing.
Max is like... So they're going to be in the festival, and he's like, no.
Also, during their honeymoon, though, some bigger political things have happened.
I was going to wait to... And at this point, I'm like, oh, this is so wonderful. What could possibly ruin it? And then, bam! We cut to a flag with the swastika on it. And I'm like, no!
Nazis? Who would have thought?
We just had a great wedding.
Oh, no! Austria's been annexed by the Third Reich.
God damn it.
Yeah. So, they're being run by Nazis now. Liesel runs into Rolf again.
And Rolf is just a dick. Dude, he's turned into like...
He's so mean to her.
He's such a Nazi tryhard. She's like,
hey, like, oh my god, like, where have you been?
He's like,
I have bigger things going on
I'm worshiping
now.
Hitler. I was like, dude, okay.
He's like, give this telegram to your dad. And she's like, well, Rolf, like, don't you want to come deliver it? And he's like, I have other things that I need to do, like, hail Hitler for the Nazis, like, no. And she's kind of like, what the hell?
Yeah, he's like, dude, what the fuck?
She's like,
what happened?
What's going on? Yeah, so then after rehearsing, they get home, they see mom and dad, or I guess, I don't know, Maria. They call her mom, actually.
Yeah, they're like,
they call her mom now.
It feels so natural to call you mom, and she's like, I love when you call me mom. Because
she was like, I mean, she was already kind of a mother figure to them, so like now they're like, yeah, sure. She catches up with Maria, and she's like, she never told her specifically about the guy, but like Maria kind of knew there was a guy, and they kind of have this nice little mother-daughter moment. Maria's like, you're 16. Like, you have so much time. It's gonna be okay. And Liesel's like, yeah, I don't really need a boyfriend right now anyway.
Especially one that's a Nazi.
Especially one that's a Nazi. Exactly. It's a cute little moment where they're like, you're young, you'll grow up, you can meet a boy someday and get married, but like, there's no reason to rush that. It's cute, it's nice. Followed by the dad coming in and being like,
what happened here? This is the last thing I wanted.
Very cute, wholesome moment being followed by like, shit, there's so many Nazis.
The Nazis got everywhere, man. Oh, fuck.
So he basically, because he was a naval officer, he sees the writing on the wall where he's like, they're going to recruit me. Like,
and they do.
Well, and that's what the telegram is about, is that they've been trying to get a hold of him to like make him work for the Nazis, essentially. And he's like, I'm not going to do that.
I can't do it.
So they're like, we need to escape. We need to leave Austria. Like, we have to get out.
And they're about to leave the night of the festival.
They're sneaking out.
But as they sneak out, guess who's ambushed them as they caught them when they're pushing their car down the road?
The Nazis!
Oh my god. Okay, so at this point, there's Nazis in every frame of this movie.
There's literally...
And I'm at this point, I'm so frustrated because I'm like, we spent so long getting to love and know these characters, and I just want them to be happy, and I want them to be free, and I want them to not have to deal with the Nazis. And they bomb drop all these Nazis into the movie. They sprinkle them in there everywhere.
But that's how it happened. It was very subtle, and it was like slow,
and then one day there were Nazis
ideology
everywhere.
changing, and then suddenly they took over. So they're like fully, the family's like fully sneaking it. Like they are all wearing like black cloaks. Like, they are sneaking out of the house, like, very quietly. The car's not even turned on. They're pushing the car out. So they're like, we gotta be quiet. We gotta be smart. We're gonna, like, drive over into Switzerland. Yeah. Famously known for being neutral. As they're sneaking out, as we mentioned, there's, like, 5 Nazi cars or something. There's, like, 5 cars that are, like, waiting for them. They're like, hey, where are you guys going? What are you up to?
That's not very Nazi-like of you.
They're like, you got a telegram to come and work for the Nazi army, and you never responded. So and like, we're here to come take you to your new base.
And poor Captain is like, we were actually going to go sing in the festival. And he finally has to go sing in this fucking festival.
Yeah, no, he's like, we're going to go sing. And they're like, all of you? And he's like,
yes.
They're like, we thought it was only the kids. And he's like, nope, I'm singing too. It's the whole family.
And they go and they sing, but the Nazis are like, okay, we're going to escort you there, and then we're going to watch you.
We're going to watch you, and then the second you're done, we're taking you to this military base.
So you can become a Nazi and work for us. So that you're working for the Nazis,
yeah. They go to the festival.
And they basically do a reprise of most of the songs in the movie.
The big ones, yeah. The whole family's singing. It's great, it's cute. They get to the last song, and it's the goodbye song that they sang from the party earlier. And you see, like, as the kids leave the stage, they keep looking back, like, they seem nervous.
Yeah. They're I think it seems like they're executing some kind of plan to maybe escape.
What? That's crazy.
And so they kind of stall, and then...
So they exit the stage because they're singing their goodbye song. Yeah. But because it was a festival, I guess there's, like, the awards.
Yeah, there was awards, which I feel like they're kind of stalling on the awards, and they're kind of going through. Yeah, well, and
Max is, like, the moderator or something, so he knows he's trying to help the family. He knows what's going on. He knows they're trying to leave. So he's doing what he can to, like, take his time. They hand out the first award, or the third place award. They hand out the second place award. Who won first place? Oh my god, the Von Trapp family singers. Who would have thought?
They're like, come out on stage and accept your award, and they're not there!
No one comes out. And then they announce it again. No one comes out. And then a Nazi runs out, and he's like, they're gone!
And they basically do like a little cat and mouse game, where they go to the nunnery, They hide in the Abbey. They're, like, behind, like a statue.
It's, like, in a graveyard area, but they're, like, behind these locked
gates. And they're behind a statue and a locked gate, and so the Nazis kind of flash flashlight, and they're like,
They're trying to find them.
No people here.
No people.
And they leave. But fucking Rolf. He ducks behind a gravestone. He's like, I'm going to just wait here for a second and see if someone pops out.
I mean, it's smart. It works.
Pretty smart. I mean,
it works because they think the Nazis are gone. They slowly start getting out. So they start walking out. Rolf jumps out with his flashlight. He's like, ha! Gotcha!
And he's about to blow the whistle. He's like, other Nazis, come here. And
the family kind of runs out, except for Captain Von Trapp. No, Rolf has a gun, and he's like, "I'm gonna shoot you."
And basically,
because he basically is like, "We only want the captain. We don't want anything." Like, he's like, "The rest of you can leave. We don't want any of the rest of you. We just want him."
And the captain's basically like, "Put the gun down." And he walks.
He does that whole thing where he's like, "You're not a killer." He's like so calm about it.
Be granted, I don't think Rolf was ever gonna shoot him.
No. But the captain, once again, just proving he's just a smooth guy.
And he comes up, he calm. Takes the gun, and he's like,
he grabs the gun from him.
He's like, "It's all right, man."
And this is the rest of the family, who, by the way, has, like, run out to the car at this point. They hid the car.
And
they're at that car. But the captain's basically like, it's not too late for you. You can come with us.
And he's thinking about it, and then he's like, you'll never be one of them. And then he's like, you think so? Yeah, I think I will be one of them.
You think I can't be a Nazi? I'll be a Nazi. I'll show you Nazis.
And then he's like, other Nazis, come here.
He blows his whistle, because I guess whistles were big in the military, I guess. I don't know. So then all the Nazis coming running out, and
the captain escapes to the car.
They drive.
They book it.
But they also realize, like, all the borders of Austria have been closed off, so they're, like, going to drive, and then they're going to have to, like, climb through the mountains. That's, like, the only way.
They're going to have to climb through some alive hills.
The hills that are alive. So the Nazis, once they realize they're gone in the car, they run back to their cars, and the nuns are like,
they
go to like, the head mother, and they're like, "We have sinned, mother." And she's
we
like,
took out their like transmitters or like engines or something.
All these car parts, so the Nazis can't get their cars started. So the family is able to escape, and the movie closes. They're going over the hills that are alive. And
at first, it was just her, and now she has a whole family with her alive in the hills.
A husband and her 7 kids. And that's the end of the movie.
That's the end of The Sound of Music.
You guys, I will say, I appreciated that you guys really were into it. Like, you got very worried.
It's a great
movie.
It really just well crafted. A handful of good songs, a handful of ones I don't really give a shit about. But
that's fair.
Looked beautiful. It's well regarded. Of course, I'm gonna think it's well regarded.
It won like 5 Oscars, I think.
So very good.
It's a great movie.
I mean, I really don't have any more to thought. Yeah. I really don't have many negative
It's not like
thoughts.
This is a hot take. Like, it's a great movie.
I could have just done for maybe a couple of the songs I would have liked. Maybe
to be
different songs. Or cut out.
Oh, that's honestly fair.
I guess we gotta just move on to what I'm gonna show you next week.
I guess so. I love The Sound of Music. I'm glad we got to watch it. I'm really glad that... I feel like this was... out of
a success.
This was a success. Everybody
Clueless is a success.
Clueless was like Mamma Mia. I'm surprised that you did like it more, but it's okay. I wouldn't say it was a failure.
Mamma Mia is probably.
I just think that this may have been the biggest success so far.
I have liked all 3 of the movies. Mamma Mia is probably my least favorite, but I still like it. It's fun.
Okay, I'll take it.
I like Clueless and this way more. But let's get on to what I'm going to make you watch.
I'm excited.
So I think I'm going to make you watch The Strangers, just because Evil Dead. It was gory, it was scary. but it didn't seem to get you.
No, I think I'm actually gonna hate The
It
Strangers.
didn't seem to get you.
I think here's the thing with Evil Dead is like when it's stuff like with demons and it's like gross and stuff, like it's like like gross, and like no, I mean as we mentioned, like I covered my eyes a lot throughout. I think I've said this before and I'll say it again. I don't know where I stand on like ghosts and demons and like if I believe in them or not. I'm like agnostic when it comes to ghosts, you know?
Sure.
Like I'm like
Fair
maybe
enough.
they're real, maybe they're not. I don't know.
I think
like,
I lean
crazy people. I fully believe in, and I am scared of psychotic people. Well, and people who are out to harm other people.
Definitely, ghosts aren't real person. I think at the moment, I could be convinced otherwise, but I think that's where I stand. What did you know about this movie going in, or before we watch it?
Strangers. I know that the plot, like generally, is like a group of people break into someone's home and do some messed up stuff to them, but I don't really know what the stuff is. I just know that it's like very creepy and
so
mentally disturbed.
It's gonna be very fun.
I think this will be the first one where like I don't think I'm gonna like this.
You don't think you're gonna like it?
No,
well,
I'm gonna watch it. I'm open to watching it.
You don't think?
I think I'm gonna have a bad time.
If the movie scares you, doesn't that make it a good movie though?
But I don't have to like it. I can watch a movie and be like, objectively, yes, it's good, and
But what I'm saying is, like, getting scared by a scary movie, then it was a success.
It can be a success, and I can still not like it.
Okay, fair enough.
That's like, this was like a while ago. You made a group of us watch Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I thought it was a fantastic movie. It's a great movie. I never want to watch it again.
I put it on in the living room the other night. It was
terrifying. Yeah, no, and me and Bailey got scared and left. So that's how I think I'm gonna feel about this. Like I'm gonna be able to like respect it as like a good film, probably. Maybe. I mean, I don't know. I feel like I know less about this, but I think I'm not gonna have a good time.
We'll see how this episode does because Evil Dead episode not too good. I haven't seen the statistics for the 7 episode yet.
Like, don't share a statistic.
No, but I'm just saying, like, if this one is also not a success and because more people tune into your episodes.
What can I say?
Then I'm gonna pick.
I just pick really good movies.
I'm gonna pick something less traumatizing or more.
I feel like The Strangers is more.
I might finally cash in my Zack Snyder card if this episode doesn't do good.
In that case.
that's the.
I was gonna say I don't know if I'd prefer to watch Zack Snyder over this. I'm honestly not. I guess maybe it would depend on the Zack Snyder movie.
So,
but that's a few weeks away if that happens.
If you want to make Kristina watch Zack Snyder, don't watch that. Don't listen to that episode.
No, or listen
to the episode.
Maybe you can DM us and be like, you should make Kristina watch Zack Snyder, or email or website, or we have some stuff to share before we head out.
Oh, we do. Thank you for transitioning. I actually got to pull up like what I say at the outro. If you want to reach out to us for whatever reason. A business inquiry, or maybe you just want to check in and be like, hi guys, because we get no emails at the moment.
We haven't gotten a single email.
Well, we got a spam thing from like someone trying to like sell us something.
I mean, that's something. We're on the map.
You can reach out to us at shutupandwatchpod@gmail.com, or if you want to get updates on when our episodes release, or just little clips of the podcast, you can check us out on shutupandwatchpod on Instagram. We also have a website, which is bright yellow, bright purple, Comic Sans, the ugliest website in the history of websites, maybe, hopefully. I'm going to see if I can make it uglier. If you have any suggestions on how I can make it uglier, let me know.
I have suggestions, but I don't want to say them. I don't want it to be ugly.
Why would you say them if you didn't want me to make it uglier?
I'm not going to say.
Thank you to our good friends, Ronan Lilly for the edit, Bailey Johnson for our logo, and Justin Hickland for our little sound tag at the beginning. And did you know, Kristina, if the listener were to share this podcast with a friend who they think might like it, they'll be able to be filled with the sound of music.
Wow.
They'll be able to run around in the hills.
They'll feel the hills that are alive.
What great content. What another signature podcast episode we've done here. Thank you guys for listening. I'm waving. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.